Hello, my friends. My name is Claudia Vargas from CVGMarketing, and today I have a guest from Colorado. His name is Nate Perez. Nate, welcome to CVGMarketing.
Hi, how you doing today?
Well, Nate, just tell us a little bit about your background. Who is Nate Perez?
So my background goes, we are a family that we've been in the United States since before United States. We're original Mexicans that are Americans. My grandma was from Texas. My dad's side of the family was also from Texas. Their family was from Texas as well. My grandpa, who passed away in 1994, actually fought in World War I. We have a huge lineage of a military background as well. And we have seen a lot of phases of life here in the United States. And my mom grew up in the era of Jorge Gonzalez and Cesar Chavez, and part of the walkouts. And I've also been part of that movement to the second wave of that a few years ago when I helped out Skyline High School here in Loma, Colorado, with the Day Without a Mexican. I helped out a lot of Latino kids and get. But we as Latinos have been here in the United States our whole entire lives, and our lineage goes back to the beginning of the United States.
Okay, and you and I had a conversation yesterday, and you decide that your vote is gonna be for Trump. So can you share why is it that you're going for Trump? What do you think that it has done for you and your family?
So our construction background goes back to also when my dad began his company back in I want to say 78, 79. He began his construction company. So he's been an entrepreneur here in the United States, here in Colorado, pretty much my whole entire life. And well, we've been in the construction world, and we've seen the different presidencies. And during the last 8 years of presidencies with President Obama and also Biden, we have seen that we saw our company almost go down the drain. We were losing work. We were actually having to do other things to find extra work. I'm talking roofing and tearing roofs off. But we began to lose everything. And we actually have other friends who have also almost lost everything during those 8 years. But when President Trump stepped in and his new policy stepped in, that is when we legitly understood that we now have a president who is making things happen for the Latino community. We work with tons of concrete companies and people, and they're Latinos, and who secretly have to be Trump supporters because their family would disown them. But with the policies and the minority business things that the president has put into effect, we're backed up for the next 3 years as long as President Trump is still our president. Now, the thing is the things that he's doing and the things that he's saying he's gonna do. We don't, as a family, we don't allow people to tell us, or social media or the mainstream media tell us what to believe and what to think. We're seeing the actual changes happening from the construction site itself, and the changes and the building and the growth that the economy is going through right now has completely helped our family out, our family business out, and everything that we've done. Usually it's promises. Usually it's, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. And then other things happen and don't happen the way we're promised. And as a Latino community, from where I'm coming from, there's another friend of ours that he had a business that was about to shut down right towards the tail end of President Obama's tenure as a president. But when President Trump went into office, our friend of ours, who is a legalized citizen, he's an immigrant that is now an American citizen. And he actually is a millionaire now because his business has grown so rapidly, so strong under the president's changes that he's made, that he has 2 companies now. I mean, there's a portion of it here in Colorado, and there's a portion in Texas. And he says that he's grown to I think he's almost hitting 100 employees, and he's still going to be growing. The funny thing is he has told us that he can't even tell his own family that he's a Trump supporter, because they don't understand it. They don't understand what the president has done for our economy and for the minority businesses, the money, the funding that's been pushed out through the Trump administration for minorities and even women with business that they call disabled business. It doesn't matter what race you are, but if you need a fighting chance and you're part of the minority group and disabled group, he has pushed out funding for all of us, and concrete companies know it. There's Latino companies out there that are just thriving under this administration. And when we see that happening, it has helped us as a family to make the decision that we need to keep supporting, the president who has done these amazing things for our country.
Yeah, I do hear that around the Hispanic community all over United States, that their business has grown tremendously, that they're doing very well with this new president. Now, you had mentioned that the past 8 years, you guys almost lost your business. Why do you think that happened?
So I'm going to go back a little further. So also when I had stepped away from the family business for a little while, probably around 2008, 2009 until about 2013. And I was actually working for a company where we were doing used cooking oil for biodiesel out of Boulder, Colorado. The Obama administration made a mandate to use biodiesel in all of diesel fuel. But then he started bringing in Argentinian oil, and he said, we're not going to use United States oil. When he did that, I'd have to say just about a year later, the company sunk because they were using outsourced used cooking oil. The reason why I'm mentioning that is because the other administrations that we've seen before have used outside sources for negotiation purposes. What the Trump administration has done is change it all back to in-house, and that's including from fossil fuels to even yellow grease and all the way around. He's put the focus back on our country to be able to all of us succeed in that. And the reason why I say that is because in the fossil fuel area, we've seen the changes that he's brought back with fossil fuels, and with that happening is creating jobs, it's creating employment, it's creating houses being built, it's creating people wanting to buy houses. So when people are buying houses, we're building houses. But those are just a few of the changes that we've seen that Trump has done, that I'm going to focus on at this moment. Because I could go on and on things I've seen that the administration has done for the Hispanic community, like prison reform, how the prison reform that he's also brought to this community to help get Latinos a better chance when they get in trouble. And that's just, Latinos, Blacks, those numbers are way down. So just the promises that he's making is really what we appreciate that's going on, is he's promising things and he's actually coming through with those promises.
Yeah, that's very important, that you share your side of the story. I know for a fact there's a lot of Hispanics friends that I have who were invited to share their voices, and they were fearful to speak up, and they have very strong opinions of things that they have seen improve as well, but they again are afraid to speak up. And there's always two sides of the story. There's always you have seen improvement on your side. There are other issues also that affect the Hispanic community, and I'm going to be talking with other people to discuss those issues. But it is important that we have an open mind and we do listen to both sides of the story, whether it's with Trump or whether it's with Biden, and how is the Hispanic community improving so that they can plan ahead, because the Hispanic community is the fastest growing community in United States. So they need to listen the important issues, and looks like your family has a long generation even of service, and this is important for people to know. I know you are very involved in the Latinos for Trump page, um, and so other Hispanics. Now, what do you hear from other? What are other issues that are important to you that you would like to see improvement? If Trump was looking at this video, what would you like to say to him?
Well, I think what's more important that I would like to say is I'd like to talk to the Latino community just to understand that it's okay and not to be scared to actually do the research. Don't be educated by social media. The policies that are being put in place, go to the right sites, ask military personnel, ask people that are the working class people, ask even where possibly the education system, where I know some places are starting to see the money getting funded into the Latino communities for the funding that's going out there that is not being reported. My thing is to make sure that everyone educates themselves. Of course, about 2 years ago, my stepdaughter was asking me, Nate, why are they putting these kids in cages? Like, what is going on? And when she asked me, and she's only 11 years, she was only 11 years old at the time. I said, you know what, honey, you do the research, you find out yourself. 3 days later, she came back and she says, Nate, you know what? I went on YouTube and I saw some videos, and it kind of scares me. I said, what scares you? She said, I seen little children being introduced back to their family, but these kids did not look like they were happy to see their mom and dad. Why weren't they happy to see my mom and dad? Because if I hadn't seen you for a month, or you and mom, you guys would be the first people I would run to. So my thing is, the point I'm trying to make is what the president is trying to say with the immigration portion of why Latinos are against Trump is they think that the system that's broken that he's trying to fix, it's an easy fix, and it's not. There are kids coming across the border that we don't know who's bringing them across the border. We all know, as Latinos, we know this, and we know that these kids need to be safe in some way, shape, or form. But I believe it's gotten too out of hand, and this system has to be broken. I mean, it's broken, has to be fixed, and we need to get this system. And there's going to be people that are casualties of war, just like I tell everybody, there's always going to be casualties of war. There's going to be good people caught up in these decisions that have to be made. Unfortunately, that's what's going to happen when we're trying to fix something that's broken. But at the end of the day, for the better of my children, your children, everyone's children, this system needs to get changed, and it needs to get fixed, and it needs to start today. And we as Latinos need to raise up, and we need to start, voicing our opinion to say that, we do not want for these cartels and people to be bringing kids across the border, using them as reasons and how they come across the border for drugs or whatever it is. But those who are trying to come the right way, they are welcome all the time. They are welcome, and they can come and get their license and get their visas and get their jobs and buy their houses, because those are the Latinos that I have been talking to that don't even speak English, that they already have their visas, they already have their citizenship, and they're buying houses and they're buying cars and they're opening businesses and they're thriving, especially under this administration. We don't have to be a people that always thinks that we're the ones who have to pick the fruit and just for everyone to welcome us into this country. That makes me so upset when I hear someone say, well, you kick all the Mexicans out. Well, who's going to pick your fruit for you? And is that what you think that our people are worth, that we're worth just to pick fruit? I think our people should be lawyers, doctors, governors, teachers, you name it, where our people, where they belong. And I think that right now is the time that we as a people can voice our opinions and start standing up and fighting for the right causes and not accepting second best as a people. And that is with the America that we have built. This is not a country of one nation, of one people. This is a country of many nations. We're a melting pot of many different people's beliefs and colors. And man, this is an awesome place to be. But if we make the wrong decisions today, we need to figure out if we're going to make the right decision or the wrong decision. And once we make that decision, we get to live with it. And if you choose Biden, if you choose Trump, you get to live with it, and that's completely fine. And that's where I tell everybody as well, because I get a lot of hate from my Trump support. I get a lot of hate on my page as well. And I let everyone know, say, hey, listen, don't take it personal. We all have our own beliefs. This is a free land, and we get to choose what we want to choose and be okay with it. Because at the end of the day, we have to live with our decision. And that's the biggest point. We as Latinos need to step up and keep moving our people forward, whether it's here, whether it's in Mexico, whether it's in Puerto Rico, Cubanos, you name it, where our people are. Let's be better for our people wherever we're at.
Yeah.
So that's my main message.
Yeah, well, I thank you for sharing that and for taking the time to express your experience with our current president and why you're voting for Trump. Now, I have a last question. So when you heard President Trump say that Mexicans are rapists, and how were you able to filter that? Because I know a lot of Hispanics and a lot of Mexicans were very offended. I can include myself into that. So what will you respond to that, and how you were able not to take it offensive?
Because so my dad's also a pastor. We've done a lot of missionary work in Piedras Negras, Mexico. We've done a lot of work to Juarez. I've lived in Saltillo, Coahuila, Mexico for 8 months, many years ago. I spent a lot of time in Mexico. When President Trump made that statement, I knew exactly what he was saying. And I understood. I was intelligent enough to decipher because of what I've seen. Not everybody can understand it. Not everybody can see it, because unless you know or you understand where he's coming from, it's hard to grasp, and it's easy to misunderstand. But because of the amount of time I did spend in Mexico, I was able to understand his words were not saying that the Mexican government or the school systems or the colleges were sending rapists, murderers, and all these bad people. That's not what he's saying. I understood it because he's talking about the cartels and the people who are bad, who are secretly coming into this country to start gangs. I mean, go to the worst parts in Los Angeles and find the MS-13 gangs. Go to where the gangs are and where they're running the streets, and people have to pay quotas on their mom and dad's little the taco stand or the taqueria, whatever it is that they have going, or their store. He's talking about the people who are coming over here illegally with a bad intent, because there's a very beautiful culture in Mexico, very smart, intelligent. Some of the best dentists come from Mexico. That's not who he's talking about as being sent. He's literally saying we need to check the borders, because whether it be Mexico's cartels, whether it be even Middle Eastern people sending very bad people through our borders, he's saying we need to stop the borders to stop the bad people from coming in, so that we can allow the good people to come in. See, I used to tell the kids when I used to work at Skyline High School, I used to always tell the students, it takes an ounce of information to create a perception, and it takes 1,000 pounds of action to change that perception. The problem is when we have a ton of these kids that are guys, and we're not talking about sometimes women too, but mainly men coming in from the gangs, coming in, sneaking in drugs and doing all these bad things. How do they look at the Mexicanos over here on our side? Those people do bad things, and what do they say? All the Mexicans are bad. Doesn't matter who you are, we're always grouped together. So I would tell Latino kids, do good. Oh, Mr. P, but they're racist. They're not racist. It just means some other Latino before you gave them a bad perception of who you're going to be. So now you have to step in the gap, and you have to change that. Well, with that being said, what President Trump, and my interpretation of what he's saying is, we need to stop the gangs, we need to stop the drugs, and we need to stop the bad people from coming in. That way people don't look at the good ones that are coming in, look at them bad too. Because that's actually what's happening. We're all being judged by the bad ones coming in, no matter what happens. a Latino does a bad thing, what do people say? That's why all Mexicans need to go back to Mexico. It's even a white person. Oh, all them crazy white people. It's natural that people do that. So when President Trump said they're sending all the bad people, he's not talking about the government. He's not talking about the good people that are coming over. He's talking about the bad people being sent by bad people. And like I said, I've done quite a bit of missionary work to talk to people from the other side, from their perspective over there. And even a lot of Mexicanos understand that, because they're the ones who are driving around at 8 o'clock at night, and truckloads of Army Marines with guns are driving around trying to slow the cartel down. And they know, they understand. We don't understand over here a lot of times, but they understand. We forget what they're going through, but they know what's going on. But it's easy to misinterpret when someone says something to say, hey, well, he's saying all the Mexicans are bad. No, he's saying the cartels, we need to stop them, the coyotes, and we need to get this done the right way. That's my perception of that.
Well, thank you for giving me your point of view, and for taking the time to share your story, as a business owner, as an Hispanic, as a Mexican background, why Trump has been the best option for you, and why you're going to vote for him in the future, the next time. So thank you for your time again, and we'll keep in touch. I love to hear how your business progresses, even if it's with Trump or if it's with Biden. And I want to welcome the Hispanic community to, when they see this video, to be open-minded and listen to the other side of the story. And at the end of the day, each of us have our own choice, and we have to do our own homework. We have to talk with people, and we need to be proactive. But the most important thing is that we need to make our vote count. So
yes, I agree.
All right. Thank you, Nate.
Thank you. You have a good day, okay?